Welcome to Toastmasters Time, the show that has everybody talking. My name is Knox, and I'll be your host for this edition of Toastmasters Time. Now, just like in a regular Toastmasters meeting, we will have 3 prepared speeches, and we will evaluate them to give the speakers input on how to improve their speaking. Now, to do our evaluations tonight, we have our very own Manoj Ramanan. Manoj, how are you this evening, and what can we expect on this show?
Louis, I'm excited to be here. We have 3 fantastic speeches today. We have Kristian Widjaja from City Speech Toastmasters, who's here. We have Ann Struss from Speakers Forum Toastmasters. And we have Harkness, who is also from Speakers Forum Toastmasters. I'm really excited to listen to those 3 speeches today. Back to you, Louis.
Thank you. I share that excitement. I think we will have a great show. You and I will talk soon, but now I'd like to introduce our first speaker for the evening, Kristian Widjaja. Kristian, welcome to Toastmasters Time.
Thank you.
Tell me, what club are you in?
I'm with City Speech Toastmasters in Fremont.
Okay, and how long have you been a member of that club?
I've been there since about August, so about 6 months.
Well, now, if I recall from our earlier conversation, you were in the organization a number of years ago and you came back.
That's correct. I used to be at different corporate clubs at Oracle and at PayPal,
Okay.
and that was back in 2006.
Uh-huh. Now tell me, what did you learn in those corporate clubs?
In those corporate clubs, I learned, first of all, how to speak publicly, but also to network because there are a lot of people there.
And now you have your own company.
Yes.
You make software, I think.
Yes.
And how does Toastmasters help you in your day-to-day work today?
It helps me because when I have my own company, I need to speak to potential clients. I need to speak to my staff. There are a lot of things that I have to do. I'm in meetings all day.
Right. Now, you also have a son who's in Toastmasters, right?
That's correct.
How did you get him into Toastmasters?
I felt that my son needed to have more confidence, and that's actually how I ended up at City Speech, because I wanted to get my son involved and start speaking and work on his confidence.
Fantastic. So are you ready to give your speech?
Yes, I am.
Well, hold on here for a few moments while I tell our viewers what your objectives are in today's speech.
Sure.
Okay. Today, Kristian will give a speech whose purpose is to persuade. He will use his words to inspire the audience, to deliver a speech that all of us will appeal to all of us. And his speech is entitled, Can Working from Home Save the World? Kristian Widjaja, Working from Home Can Save the World. Kristian Widjaja.
Let me ask you a question. Have you been stuck in a traffic jam today? If you commute to work, chances are that you have. And guess what? You're not alone. Did you know that in the United States, the average commute time back and forth to work is about 80 minutes? That's a long time. Here in the Bay Area, it's even worse. It's 2 hours on average to commute back and forth to work. What's worse, besides all this time lost, is also the environmental impact. Did you know that a car produces about 4.6 metric tons of CO2 emissions every year? That's a lot of CO2. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, these are problems, and there are some solutions to this problem that people have attempted. Traffic is a bad problem. So what solutions have been attempted in the past? Well, first of all, there are carpool lanes. Now, how well do these carpool lanes work? In the beginning, they worked pretty well. However, I've noticed that they do get crowded, and even though more people drive and carpool, I don't think it's that effective. A second solution would be to add more lanes. If 4 lanes are not enough, how about 5? How about 6? Well, have you been to Los Angeles and seen what those highways look like? You've got double carpool lanes, 8-lane highways, and still there are traffic jams. In China, there are even highways with 50 lanes, and they experience the worst traffic jams. So maybe widening lanes or adding more lanes is really not a solution either. So how about improving public transportation? Well, I would say that could reduce your carbon footprint, but it still takes a lot of time. I used to commute to San Francisco. It would take me an hour and a half each way. 3 hours of my day lost right there. So I don't think these are great solutions. I do have a solution that I believe will work for everybody and that will transform the world. Working from home. With working from home, it would save me a lot of time. I work from home every single day. In fact, my whole company works from home. I allow everybody to work from home. And there are some good reasons why. First of all, let's talk about the benefits of working from home. Number one, you have a lot more time. That's really what it's all about. The time makes you more productive, so you don't spend the time in traffic. And second, I also have a lot more time for my family, and I can attend things like school events. That's really important to me. The second benefit are environmental. Can you imagine if a lot of people work from home, what kind of impact it has on the environment? Let's take a look at these trends. In 1950, the number of white-collar workers and blue-collar workers were about the same, about 37%. However, now, in 2019, this number has changed drastically. Where they were equal before in 1950, now blue-collar workers only represent less than 20%, and white-collar workers over 60%. Do you see the opportunity there of how much environmental impact we can make if many of these people were to work from home? And the third benefit from working from home is, as an employer, I can hire pretty much anybody who is living and working in a similar time zone as myself. So that gives me a lot more flexibility to hire the best talent for my company. Now, there are a few drawbacks. The first drawback of working from home is less human interaction. But you can overcome those easily. There are modern tools such as Slack and messaging, video conferencing, and you can still have that human interaction. The second drawback would be the lines between personal and professional life might be blurred, but you can set limits, like how much you work, and also by setting up your own home office space. That helped me a lot, and that kept my work-life balance in check. Now, there are also some long-term effects that we don't know quite yet what they will mean. For example, if a majority of the people work from home, what does that mean for home prices or the global economy? I think that it will equalize home prices by a little bit, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, given that San Francisco is really expensive. The second thing that I believe will happen also is that it will change society, because we will spend more time in our local communities. I have spent more time volunteering in my local community, as well as visiting local coffee shops and all these things that I didn't have time before. So what can you do to join in this home office revolution? here are 3 things that you can do. First of all, ask your boss if you can work from home. Chances are that your boss will agree, and you can ask for just 1 day per week and make sure that you show that you're still productive. Number 2, if your boss doesn't allow it, look around. There are actually many companies that allow working from home. There are companies like Zapier, Envision, and my own company, John & Joe, which allow everybody to work from home pretty much all the time. Number 3, if you are an employer, like myself, give people the flexibility to work from home. Try it out and see the transformation happen. So in summary, yes, I believe that working from home can save the world. Not only will it save the environment, it will give you your time back for your family and increase your productivity. So what are you waiting for? Join me in the home office revolution.
Thank you, Kristian, for that great speech. You know, I never thought about working from home, but as you were speaking, I thought to myself, wow, what a difference the world would be if there were no cars on the highway during the day. Manoj, what did you think about Kristian's speech?
Louis, I thought the speech was great. First off, he grabbed the audience attention at the start with a powerful question and really made us think about the topic. I also really like the structure where he clearly laid out. He said, he first spelled out the issues, then he spelled out potential solutions. He also spoke about the benefits. I think the one area I would have wanted him to work on is maybe pausing a little more and allowing us to really, because it was really a well-researched speech. But overall, what a great job done by Kristian.
Yeah, I agree with you, Manoj. And you know, I thought about the fact that working from home also makes you take real personal responsibility. And that's something that we could all use a little more of. Well, now we're going to have an opportunity to learn about storytelling. I think that storytelling is one of the best ways to present presentations in Toastmasters. And to do that, I'd like to introduce our second speaker of the day, Robin Ann Struss. Hi, Robin.
Hi.
Welcome to Toastmasters Time.
Thank you very much.
So, Robin, tell me, what club or clubs are you affiliated with?
Chamber Chatters in Pleasanton and also Speakers Forum.
Chamber Chatters and Speakers Forum. How long have you been in Toastmasters?
Since 2012.
And what brought you to Toastmasters initially?
Searching for some books on how to become confident, actually, and when I came across the Toastmasters, I was curious to find out about it, and that was the key.
And what has been some of the highlights of your being in Toastmasters?
The confidence has grown, and the testing to get out and get into competition has really pushed me to another level of being able to talk with people that I probably would not have talked with had I not been in Toastmasters.
And it's a lot of fun participating in competitions, isn't that right?
Yes, it is. I hear you're into competition too.
I have done a few of the competitions myself. Now, I think that the speech that you're doing today is one of those speeches that you're using in the competition, isn't that right?
Yes. I'll try.
Tell me about that speech.
This one is personal.
Okay.
This one is, it intertwines with my dad and how he had drank in my earlier years, and then how I learned to go through the recovery as an adult rather than in the younger years. So
well, it sounds like there are some real messages that all of us can use.
Definitely.
Are you ready to give your speech?
I am.
Okay, well, hold tight while I tell our viewers what your objectives are in this speech today.
Sure.
Okay? Robin's speech is a speech that she's given out of the storytelling directory. The objective is to understand the techniques that are available to arouse an audience, to become skilled in arousing an audience while telling a story. Robin Ann Struss, Getting to the Brighter Side. Robin Ann Struss.
Broken! Or is it? I'm not talking about the teacup. I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about addiction. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, addiction affects all of us. Friends, family, co-workers. It wasn't too long ago, Laura, who has been in our area postal carrier, delivering our mail for 18 years. She came up to me and she said, "I know your dad." How? You're my age. I've been in Alateen. Alateen is for kids of alcoholic families. Laura's face lit up. It was bright. Her whole body spoke volumes as she said, "There are some people I'll never forget. Your dad is one of them. He helped with projects. He listened. He encouraged. He helped us all." I didn't know that person back then as she talked. The person I knew was drunk most of the time. 3 occasions. Truck, bar, pig. Truck, bar, pig. The truck. I was a teenager. I wanted my dad to take me out driving. Please. No, not today. As he lay on the sofa, listening to Hank Williams. Please. We got in the car, the truck, and we're taking it out on a country road. As he shifts gears, turning the bend, the truck slid on gravel, wrecking the truck. Don't worry, no one was hurt, thankfully. He backed the truck in on the side from the house that nobody would be able to see. Shh, don't tell your mom. My dad was unavailable. Lesson learned? Don't drink and drive. Then there was the bar. The phone rings. My mom hands it to me. It's the bartender. "Come get your dad." I went to pick up my dad. As he stumbles, he pulls from his pocket a wad of money, bleeding through the cleavage of his hand and falling to the ground. That was why we didn't have food. I was shamed. I was embarrassed. Then there was the pigs. My brother had won this pig in a grease contest. A friend of mine came over and I was standing outside talking to him outside his car. My dad thought it would be funny to shoo Pork Chops, the pig's name, out the front room door. Go on, get! The friend, you keep a pig in your house? My dad did come to a recovery in his 40s. I did get my dad back, but there were a lot of lessons to learn. I went to recovery not too long ago. A codependency. A time when my dad was helping other people, such as Laura, was a time when he was unable to help us. I had to find my own recovery and learn and accept. At the same time, Laura and I were on different paths. We meshed together in an understanding of what alcohol was and what kind of person my dad became through his recovery. At the age of a young 70, he built my mom a dream home. What's your story? Everyone has a story. My story was hearing what Laura had to share. It meant a lot to me. I don't think I'd be here sharing this story had it not been for Laura. But we all have something to share. The teacup, it was my grandma's.
Thank you, Robin. What a powerful story. You know, Manoj, this story reminds me that addiction not only affects the addict, but also everyone that's in the addict's life. What did you think of Robin's story?
I thought Robin's story was extremely moving, Louis. It was authentic and heartfelt. And one of the things that she did so well today was she brought the scenes alive to us by showing us the interaction between her and her dad, by showing us what she felt and what she went through. We were able to feel what she went through and what she learned. I really liked the way she engaged in terms of the vocal variety, taking us back to the time when she was a teen and how her dad responded. I really liked her demeanor and calmness as she went through sharing a really personal story to us. The one area where she can stretch even more is, I would say, making those body gestures even more dramatic, because the events and the experiences were pretty dramatic. But overall, that was an excellent speech. Back to you, Louis.
Thank you, Manoj. And what a great evaluation. What a great evaluation. Powerful story. It tells you the power of Toastmasters. And speaking of power of Toastmasters, our next speaker is someone who's been powerful in this district, District 57. A former area governor. He's been involved in Toastmasters since 1997. Let me introduce to some Ashley Harkness. Ashley, welcome back to Toastmaster Time.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Ashley, tell us what brings you here today.
Well, the opportunity to try out a speech that I've been using whenever we're doing a demonstration meeting in front of non-Toastmasters to encourage them to become Toastmasters.
Now, Ashley, you're an experienced Toastmaster. Now, tell me what originally got you involved in Toastmasters?
Well, I had already been a speaker for my company, but I found out that there was a better way. And actually, I knew about Toastmasters since I was 12 years old, but I never did anything about it. My uncle was a Toastmaster, and one time he got asked at one of his clubs to explain the life cycle of the monarch butterfly. Well, at that particular situation, my aunt was with him, and when he said that, she said, "But you always have to put something dirty into everything, don't you?" That wasn't his intent at all. It kept me away from Toastmasters for many, many years, but I did eventually join.
Well, Ashley, I know that you have helped so many people.
Thank you.
And tonight, you're going to help them again in this speech. Tell us about this speech.
Well, this is a speech that I've done in one form or another for several years, but just recently I was told by someone very important to me as a critic that one part of it needed to be changed, and so we're going to try that out tonight.
Fantastic. Are you ready to give your speech?
Oh, you better believe it.
All right, well, sit tight while I tell our viewers what your main objectives are.
Thank you.
Today. Ashley Harkness is going to be speaking from the Competent Communicators Manual. That's the manual that people start off with when they enter Toastmasters. And he's going to be using vocal variety, pitch, rate, and quality to add interest to his message. He will use pauses to enhance his speech. And of course, we expect a very smooth and natural presentation. Ashley Harkness, why I am still in Toastmasters, Ashley Harkness.
Very often I get asked, after all these years, why am I still in Toastmasters? The answer is very simple. Toastmasters made all the difference. You see, in Toastmasters, I met people from all walks of life, all different kinds of people. This was new to me. Also, I had an opportunity to really move my skills in public speaking ahead, and that paid off at work. And lastly, there'd always been a dream in my life that I wanted to be able to do something that would make a difference. And in Toastmasters, that happened. Plenty of good reasons to stay in Toastmasters. But let me give you a little background. First of all, I'm what they call a cubicle rat. I worked in a calibration laboratory. I saw the same people day in, day out. It was just very much the same. But then one day, the boss came in and said, "Ashley, we need you to go and speak to the new hired engineers about all those weird, crazy jobs you did." And I did. After the presentation was over, an electrical engineer named Lou Stifter came forward and said, "You're pretty good, but you could be a lot better. Are you ready to take a challenge and come with me and join Toastmasters?" And I did. And it made all the difference. Pretty good reason to stay in Toastmasters. The club that I joined had all these different people. There was an oil field engineer back from Kazakhstan. There was a police officer who wanted to be able to speak better when he gave people tickets. Can you imagine? There were school teachers, there were nurses, a host of different people. And what were they there for? All were there to try and overcome their fear of public speaking, a very debilitating thing. They helped me to overcome my fear of public speaking. Absolutely. And for this, I am eternally grateful and still in Toastmasters. There's another good reason to stay in Toastmasters. But one more. I had an opportunity to help others. If you remember that in 2008, the banks all over were failing. We had a Toastmaster club at a bank right in the town that I'm in. Their president called me on the phone. It was Robin, and she said, "We're in trouble over here. Can you please come over and talk to our people?" Well, the truth of the matter was, the bank was closing. Yes, closing. When I walked into the room, you could feel the fear. It was palatable amongst all the people. I said, anyone who is not here in these seats right now thinks that the problem is going to pass over their cubicle and they're going to be saved. No, it won't happen. You here in the Toastmasters meeting today are in a lifeboat, a Toastmaster lifeboat, that will carry you across the troubled waters to your next opportunity. But you have to take the chance. You have to seize the day, and you have to change the club. From now on, impromptu speeches have to be practice for when you are out being asked questions in interviews. The prepared speeches have to be your reason, your thing that you write up and say, this is what I can do. You know how to write speeches, write that. And they did. On the very last day of the club, 3 of the people completed some of their objectives and gave speeches. And as the door closed behind us, there were tears. Several years later, I ran into one of the members, a lady who came up to me and said, "Do you remember me? I remember you. You came to our club and you gave us hope." All of those members had gone on to other clubs and were successful. I'd made a difference. Now, isn't that a good enough reason to stay in Toastmasters? But frankly speaking, making a difference was something I really always wanted to do in a different way. At work, they came up to me one day and said, "Hey, you're a techie. We need someone to come out with our sales guy and talk techie to the people at the sales meeting." And I did. The sales guy came up to me afterwards and said, "I didn't understand a word you said, but we got the order and I got a promotion." Hey, well, that's a couple of good reasons for staying in Toastmasters. But that wasn't all. In the last year when I was working, I was set out to be a trainer for electrical people in the electrical industry. My job was to teach them to save their lives. On the very first job that I had a guy get up and say, "Are you going to be as boring as the last guy your company sent?" I wasn't boring, but that's a different speech. The fact of the matter is, that made a difference. I was saving lives. I was living my dream. What's your dream? Is it perhaps to get control of your fear of public speaking, to do a better job with your work and maybe even with your family? Perhaps you want to make a difference too. Then you must come to Toastmasters. You must join Toastmasters, for here is where you learn all of the skills necessary to do it. Frankly speaking, this is the place. I've been here, I know it. I've lived the dream, and my journey is continuing. I still meet new wonderful people, have a great opportunity to see all kinds of different things, and hopefully save more lives. Are you ready for this challenge? If you are, all you have to do is step forward. Come to Toastmasters. Come for your dreams. Come for your hopes. Stay for the opportunities to change the world. You'll find Toastmasters can make all the difference for you, too.
Wow, Manoj. Come to Toastmasters and make a difference. What did you think of Ashley's speech?
That was powerful. He was extremely passionate the whole speech, and he showed it with his extensive body language, his vocal variety, and just the stories were so engaging.
Yes, you know, it was great because we had someone who was very experienced, we had some young speakers, but all of them were powerful and gave great messages. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. I think we can all take away something, as I'm sure the audience will.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Manoj. What a good and powerful evening.
Thank you.
Well, that's our show. Thank you for joining us at Toastmasters Time. We tape our show in the San Francisco Bay Area, and if you would like more on Toastmaster Time, go to toastmastertime.com. Now, we're sponsored by District 57 of Toastmasters, and if you'd like more information on the district activities, go to d57tm.org. That's d57tm.org. We would like more information on Toastmasters International. You can find out more going to toastmasters.org. Again, toastmasters.org. Finally, we appreciate all of the staff and the wonderful volunteers at the Media Center in Palo Alto where we tape this show. Thanks again to our guest speakers, Kristian Widjaja, Robin, Ann Struss, Ashley, Harkness, and our very own evaluator, Manoj, Ramanan. From all of us at Toastmasters Time, I'm your host, Knox. Please, we invite you to join Toastmasters and find a club in your area. And in the interim, just keep talking.